After his indictment, Melissa Gilbert completely exposes her husband. When a grand jury formally indicted the West Wing actor Timothy Busfield on 4 felony counts of criminal sexual contact with a minor, the entertainment world stopped cold. For months, Melissa Gilbert, the beloved star of Little House on the Prairie, had remained largely silent while the story swirled around them. She sat in a New Mexico courtroom in January 2026, visibly emotional, watching her husband stand before a judge in an orange jumpsuit. She wrote letters to the court defending his character. And then, nearly 3 months after that jarring courtroom scene, she did something that no one fully anticipated. She stepped in front of the cameras and spoke loudly, clearly, and with absolute conviction. In her first sit-down interview since the charges were filed, Gilbert told Good Morning America co-anchor George Stephanopoulos that the experience had been unlike anything she had ever faced. ABC News: What exactly did she say, and why did it land the way it did? Join us as we break down every detail of this unfolding story. Melissa Gilbert finally speaks, and she leaves nothing out. Sitting beside Busfield's civil attorney Larry Stein, Gilbert looked directly into the camera and said, "This has been the most traumatizing experience of our lives. Our life as we knew it is done. We are grieving what we had, all of our plans, all of our dreams, all of our ideas, all of our projects. For Tim, it's done. He's cancelled. Even if he's exonerated, he will always be that guy." Deadline. Good Morning America. Those were not the words of someone on the fence. Gilbert made clear she is 100% confident her husband will be exonerated, framing him as the last person on earth who would harm a child. Deadline. What made the interview especially striking was not just her defense of Busfield, it was her willingness to address the uncomfortable history that had been hanging over the case from the beginning. Stephanopoulos pointed directly to references in the criminal complaint regarding 2 prior sexual assault allegations made against Busfield in 1994 and 2012, one of which was reportedly settled, and asked Gilbert point-blank whether she had known about them. TMZ. Rather than deflect or look caught off guard, she confronted the question head-on. Gilbert said she had not entered the relationship blindly. She told Stephanopoulos that when she and Busfield got together, the internet existed, and she had gone looking. She said she asked him direct questions, heard his side of the story, which, she insisted, the public had never heard, and believed him completely. She added that when the time is right, Busfield will tell the full truth about those past allegations himself. Deadline. This was the moment many observers found most revealing. It was not a reversal of her support. It was a transparent admission that she had known about the clouds surrounding him and chose to stand by him anyway, a decision she is clearly not walking back. The charges: what we know. Timothy Busfield, 68, has been indicted on 4 felony counts of criminal sexual contact involving a minor under the age of 13, charges classified as third-degree felonies under New Mexico law. He has pleaded not guilty to all counts and denies the allegations entirely. Lawyer Monthly. According to the criminal complaint, the charges stem from accusations that he inappropriately touched a child actor on the set of The Cleaning Lady, a Fox series filmed in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The child's parents reported that the alleged abuse began in 2022, when the child was just 7 years old, and continued until 2024. ABC News. The parents of 2 young boys who appeared on the show alleged that Busfield touched the children on multiple occasions while working as a director on the series. NBC News. According to the criminal complaint, a therapist who interviewed one of the children documented him disclosing nightmares about the director touching him and waking up frightened. ABC News. The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office, led by Sam Bregman, who is also campaigning to become New Mexico's next governor, has been firm in its position. In a statement issued in early April 2026, the DA's office said its focus remains on the victims, emphasizing that a neutral grand jury returned the indictment and that the office only proceeds when a good faith basis for prosecution exists. ABC News. A pre-trial conference was scheduled for April 22, 2026, with a trial date set for May 2027. Deadline. That means the legal process still has a long road ahead, and no verdict has been reached. Busfield remains legally innocent until proven otherwise. The defense fires back. The defense team has not been quiet. From the very beginning, Busfield's attorneys have constructed an aggressive counter-narrative centered on one central claim, that this is a case of manufactured revenge. One of Busfield's lawyers argued that the accusations were part of a revenge plot put together by the boys' parents after their children were recast and lost their roles on The Cleaning Lady. NBC News court documents reference a witness who reportedly heard the boys' mother say that if her children were not brought back to the show, she would get Timothy Busfield. ABC News. The defense has also zeroed in on inconsistencies in the timeline of the allegations. Attorney Larry Stein told Stephanopoulos that when the boys were originally questioned by a therapist, both of them said Busfield had never touched them inappropriately. It was only in later interviews, after their father had reportedly been telling one of the boys that he was having nightmares about the director, that accounts began to shift. ABC News deadline. According to Stein, in one of those later sessions, the boy admitted he had told his father he was not actually having nightmares, he was simply hot or cold at night, but had not contradicted him because he did not want to be a disappointment. Deadline. Stein went further, describing the boys' parents as individuals with serious criminal histories of their own, one allegedly having served prison time for large-scale fraud, and the other with a record involving theft. Deadline. The defense argues this background is directly relevant to the credibility of the accusations. A law firm commissioned by Warner Brothers conducted an independent internal investigation into the complaints and reportedly found no evidence to corroborate the claims. NBC News. The defense has also cited a polygraph examination and a psychological evaluation it says support Busfield's innocence. Prosecutors, however, maintain that the evidence is strong enough to bring before a jury, and that the children's disclosures, first made to a medical professional, not to their parents, carry significant weight. The courtroom and the release decision. After Busfield turned himself in to authorities in January 2026 and was held without bond, a detention hearing was held on January 20th. Judge David Murphy ultimately ruled that Busfield could be released on his own recognizance, citing his lack of criminal history, his voluntary surrender to authorities, and what the judge described as the neutral weight of the evidence at that early stage. ABC News. The judge ordered that Busfield have no contact with the alleged victims or their families, and no unsupervised contact with any minors connected to the case. ABC News. Melissa Gilbert was present in the courtroom that day, seated beside the defense attorney, and was described as visibly emotional when the release ruling came through. Gilbert had also written a letter to the judge prior to the hearing, describing her husband as someone with the strongest moral compass of any person she had ever known and a man who has dedicated himself to being of service to others. ABC News. The letter did not change the legal calculus, but it signaled clearly how far she was willing to go to defend him in a public forum. A life shaped by struggle. Who was Melissa Gilbert? To understand why this moment carries so much weight, it helps to understand who Melissa Gilbert is and what she has survived. Born on May 8, 1964, she was placed for adoption almost immediately after birth. She was taken in by actor Paul Gilbert and his wife Barbara Crane, and grew up in a world already touched by the entertainment industry. The truth about her adoptive father's death came to her later in life and hit her hard. She had believed for years that he died of a stroke. When she learned the actual cause, that he had died by self-harm after struggling with long-term physical pain, she went through months of grief, sleeplessness, and emotional turmoil that left a lasting mark on her. Her professional life launched early and at full force. She was selected from a pool of more than 500 young girls to play Laura Ingalls Wilder on Little House on the Prairie, and the role made her a household name while she was still a child. The fame came with pressure, irregular hours on set, and a childhood that looked nothing like that of her peers. Even as she has looked back on it with warmth, she has never hidden the fact that growing up in front of cameras carries its own kind of cost. Her personal life brought further turbulence. An engagement to Rob Lowe ended after facing challenges neither of them could navigate at the time. Marriages to Bo Brinkman and later Bruce Boxleitner each came with pain and ultimately came apart. She also navigated financial trouble, including tax issues, and struggled with addiction during periods of her adult life. None of it broke her, but all of it shaped her. Finding stability, and then this. When Melissa Gilbert met Timothy Busfield and the two married in 2013, something in her life settled. She has described the relationship as grounding, as a partnership built on mutual encouragement rather than the pressures of Hollywood expectation. They stepped away from the entertainment industry's noise together, chose a simpler life, and renovated a home as a shared project. It was, by her account, the most peaceful chapter she had known. That chapter now feels like a world away. The indictment, the courtroom appearances, the national media coverage, and the daily uncertainty of a trial still more than a year out have changed the texture of everything. Gilbert told Stephanopoulos that even in the best-case scenario, even if Busfield is fully exonerated, he will always carry the shadow of these accusations in public memory. Deadline that is the grief she is describing when she talks about the life they have lost. Her decision to appear on Good Morning America was strategic as well as personal. Rather than letting the story be defined entirely by the prosecution's narrative, she chose to enter the conversation herself and put her name, her credibility, and her history on the line in defense of her husband. Whether that proves to be the right call will depend, in large part, on what a New Mexico jury decides in May 2027. Where things stand. As of now, the case is moving through the pretrial stages of New Mexico's 2nd Judicial District Court. Both sides are preparing motions, reviewing discovery, and building the arguments they will present to a jury in a trial expected to last approximately 3 weeks. Lawyer Monthly: no verdict has been reached. No conviction has occurred. Timothy Busfield is legally presumed innocent. What is not in dispute is the weight of this moment for everyone involved, for the families of the children at the center of the allegations, for Busfield and Gilbert, and for the many people who grew up watching Laura Ingalls Wilder navigate a simpler, harder world on a television screen decades ago. Melissa Gilbert has spoken. The courtrooms will speak next. And somewhere in between those two things lies the truth that the legal system is now charged with finding. What do you think about how Melissa Gilbert has handled this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story important, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the next video on your screen for more real-life stories that matter.